So this was the game that got me to 1400 elo in chess. This was probably like one of my best games that I've ever played, and just watch and see for yourself. Alright, so I was playing with the black pieces and I was actually playing a Sicilian, and my opponent was already playing in a non-optimal way. Generally, the bishop does not belong on c4 in the Sicilian because you can just play e6 and d5, counteracting this bishop. So that's exactly what I did, e6, and now he played c3 while also having played a3 first, which is a little bit confusing. So I'm guessing he wanted to have a safe square for the bishop and also gain a little bit of central space. But I just very swiftly played d5, attacking the bishop. So he took, I took back, and we have a retreat to e2. And yeah, from here it's just normal development for a couple moves. So we both castle, and now he plays d5. So he gains a little bit of central space. I took, he takes with the knight, and so I also take with the knight. And lastly, we have c takes d4, and we both end up with two isolated d-pawns. So from here, my plan was to attack the king. I do already have one very good attacking piece, which is the bishop, and this bishop is also pointing at the king side, and this knight is also controlling some very nice squares. And I just needed to get the queen into the attack, and so I played bishop c7 so that I can play queen d6 and target the king. And my idea was after he plays g3 to maybe land a bishop on the light squares and take advantage of those weakened squares. And so he played bishop d3, okay move. And now before I play queen d6, I threw in bishop g4, attacking the queen. And so when he played f3, we have a nice little brilliant move here. Queen d6 with the threat of taking on h2. If you take the bishops, it's just going to be very bad. First of all, we have this check. And after the king moves, the top three moves are just -5, -4. And if after something like rook f to e8, the king is just in very big trouble. Bishop g3 check might be incoming, and overall probably not the game you want to play, probably not the line you want to go into. Defended the checkmate on h2 first, which allowed me to move my bishop now. Now I'm moving my bishop to take those weak light squares while attacking the rook, and so he moved his rook. And now the attack still keeps on going. Knight h5 with the idea to sacrifice on g3, which will be checkmate incoming, I think. Takes, check. If rook blocks, then I just take on g2. And if he goes here, then at the very least I can take the rook, and then it's just way too big of an attack. It's probably unstoppable. And now my opponent played a very interesting defensive move here. f4 just completely counteracts my queen and bishop battery that I have going on. Basically, this diagonal is completely useless for me now. And also he's attacking my knight on h5. So I had to retreat my knight first. But the thing is, now that he pushed all these pawns in front of his king, now this diagonal is going to be very juicy for me. Plus, this pawn is also isolated. So that's going to be my next attack point. Yeah, and already like right after the next move, bishop b6, threatening to take on d4. However, there is bishop takes h7, and then he will be able to take my bishop on d4. Essentially just exchanging his light squared bishop from my dark squared one. And this is just kind of bad for me. This is probably my best piece. But after knight b5 attacking my queen, obviously I had to move. And so he played a4, trying to seemingly cement his knight into the square, but I can just play a6 and kick the knight out. And now I unfortunately fell into this tactic that I was talking about. Takes on d4, and now he takes on h7 with check, and then he takes my bishop. What I should have done here, which would have probably just made my life 10 times easier, is to play knight g4 first. Attacking the rook. After the rook moves, now I can take this with check, And this is just much better. The king has to go here, and maybe there's like knight f2 check, and then he has to sacrifice his rook. That would have been much better. But unfortunately, I didn't see that. And so we have this position now. So how do you go from here? Try your best to put pressure on your opponent. What I mean by that is not only bring all of your pieces into the attack, and then try to look for attacking moves. So knight g4 hits the rook, rook f to e8 already, and so your opponent has to constantly defend. And so bishop d2 defends the checkmate. Now knight g4 attacking the rook. Yeah, the computer doesn't like it for whatever reason, but I think it's a very good move. And so he had to move his rook, and now look at how awkward his rook is. It's just not the optimal square for your rook to be. And from here, there weren't too many attacking moves that I could play. And then I just resort to plan B, which is to get more pieces into the game. Just a simple defending my pawn on d5. And so he played rook d1. He also got his piece that was not active on a1. And so we have queen e6. So I was just trying to activate my pieces even further. And so he played queen d3 check. I moved my king back, very simple. And he played queen b1, which is a very weird move, just retreating in the back. I don't think it had any defensive purpose either. Maybe he wanted to free up the square for the rook. I think that was probably his idea. But at the very least, why not play queen c2 instead of queen b1? I don't really know. And now after having brought all of my pieces into the attack, now all that's left is this pawn. This pawn is just a very beautiful passed pawn. And so I pushed it, attacked the knight. Knight has to move, but he first threw in rook e1. So I moved my queen. I think queen b6 would have definitely been better. Let me just check. Queen b6, yeah, queen b6 would have been the third best move. But I didn't do that. I just played queen d6 instead, just centralizing my queen. And we played knight e4, attacking my queen. I think the reason queen d6 was a miss is because it's not really that good of a square. And it's also vulnerable to the knight attacking. So now I played queen b6 and getting onto this diagonal, trying to push this pawn with check. And so he played rook d3, blocking my pawn. Now the computer does not like rook d3. I think it's a perfectly fine move, stopping my pawn from advancing and also removing the rook from this awkward square. And so from here, my queen isn't really doing that much on this diagonal, and so I moved it to c6 to threaten the knight. And so he just went back. So now that the queen defends, and f5. So f5 was very unfortunate that it's a mistake. Knight g5 is just a very strong move here, attacking my bishop, and my bishop has nowhere to move. And also the knight is a very good square on g5, just taking away these two very important light squares. And so I didn't really see that. So he played knight g5, and now every move had to come with a major threat. So I took on e1 with check, he took back, and I pushed d3. So now if he takes on h3, I think I have pawn d2. So let's just say he takes pawn d2, and it's already kind of bad for him. He has to sacrifice, and at the very least, I think I get my piece back, and also this rook is under attack, and this is just amazing for me. So yeah, we didn't have that. He played bishop d2 first to blockade the pawn from moving. And so now I played queen c2, which the engine even calls a blunder, because you can take on c2 and then play rook c3, which is actually just a brilliant move. I can't even take on d2 because there's checkmate because of this very nice knight doing a good job of taking these two escape squares. But I'm not going to lie, at this rating level, I don't think anyone would have found this move. And we didn't have queen takes c2. We have queen e1. After queen e1, all of my pieces are kind of frozen up. This pawn can't even move. And so the only thing that's really left to do is to move my queen and give a check on c5. Very good move here. And what my opponent had to do here was to just move to h1. And after that, it's kind of unclear for me what to do here. All my pieces are kind of frozen up. Now my bishop here is trapped and he's just very close to taking it. And I also can't get a good access to his back rank to deliver some checkmates. And yeah, I think after king h1, I would have probably just been in huge trouble. But we didn't have that. He blocked with the bishop instead, and that's just a complete blunder. Now I have d2 attacking the queen. Very nice move here. And after he moves his queen, then I can take on e3 with a knight. And then that's just a bishop. I'm also threatening to have some discoveries, which are just completely fatal. So knight takes e3. He gave a check, desperately just trying to get out of this situation. So now after queen b3, it's actually somewhat tricky. You have to not play king f8 because that's just checkmate. And king h8, there might be like some annoying checks that you have to watch out for. But you have a very, very nice move here. Just move the knight, taking care of this check that is with the queen, and also counter checking. So now he is actually the one in check instead of me. And after king h1, queen c1 delivers the final blow and my opponent resigned. What a game that was. What can you take away from this game? Try to play as many attacking moves as possible, and to be able to play many attacking moves, you have to already have active pieces so that you can make threats and move your pieces to the optimal squares. And other than that, I mean, look at my time management. I only had 1 minute on the clock and then it was finished, which was basically perfect. And the last thing I would say is focus pretty much beats anything. So in this game, I was in a flow state, and that's actually what allowed me to win this game and play so many good moves. If you found the game interesting and you managed to learn something from the video, consider subscribing. Other than that, that is it for the video.